Well, thank you to everyone who is attending today. Welcome to the second Masterclass in the Redesign Summer Masterclass series. My name is Logan Esterling, and I am the host for these classes. Today, we are very fortunate to be joined by Russ deLuna, who will be teaching today's Masterclass. Russ deLuna joined the San Francisco Symphony as English horn player in 2007. He has appeared as soloist with the orchestra in Copland's Quiet City and Sibelius' Swan of Tuonela. He recently performed as guest English hornist with the New York Philharmonic. Prior to his job with the San Francisco Symphony, he served as principal oboist of the Atlanta Opera Orchestra and Columbus Symphony Orchestra of Georgia. He played English horn in the Atlanta Ballet and the Alabama Symphony. And he is also on the oboe faculty of the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. So thank you so much for being here, Russ.
My pleasure.
We will have 4 performers today in the masterclass. Each performer will have 20 to 25 minutes, and we'll save some time at the end for questions.
Okay.
So I ask everyone to please turn off your microphone and camera until the question portion. And there will be a replay of the masterclass uploaded to our YouTube channel in the next few days. So our first performer is Kevin Chiang from Houston, Texas, who will be playing the Hindemith English Horn Sonata.
Hello.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I can't hear you very well.
I have to turn my microphone gain down really low, otherwise when I play the English horn it like blows out the microphone. So
All right.
I'll speak a bit louder.
All right. So are you in school or?
I'm going to be a junior next year in high school.
That's cool. Great. Who do you study with?
I study with Leah Solis. She teaches in the Houston area.
Okay. Cool. Well, have you performed this before?
What, sorry?
Have you performed the sonata before?
No, I have not.
Okay. Do you know much about it? Have you read anything about it?
Yeah, I've read some research, like stuff about Hindemith in general, and I've talked about it with my teacher.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, he wrote this when he was fleeing Germany. I think it was around 1941, and so he just left, to escape the Nazis. And he was not really an oboist. He wrote mostly. He was a violist and a percussionist, I think, and not sure who else, pianist, I think. And this piece, it's just surprising how great this piece is, and the oboe sonata, because he really didn't play those instruments, so it's all that much more impressive. So, all right, go for it.
Yeah.
Very nice. You want to keep going, or do you want to just go by movement?
Maybe by movement would be better.
Okay, fine. So what does long song mean to you?
Yeah, I googled it and it means heavy, I think.
Yeah, kind of heavy and broad, and yeah, and it also says nicht schneller, which also means what, not fast, right? So it's quarter equals 40, so it's this slow, kind of lugubrious tempo. And I like your tempo; it's good. You are a junior in high school,
Yes.
dude. You're doing really well. I didn't even own an English run in high school. It's amazing.
It's
Yeah,
my
that's awesome. How long have you
school's
played it?
this is my like the end of my first year of having the English one.
Wow, you're doing great. And are you playing on your teacher's reads, or did you make it?
My I think my teacher only makes oboe reeds, so I buy reeds from
By
somebody
okay,
else. For
whatever wherever you're buying them, they're good. It's good. Your pitch is very good. This is a very difficult piece, especially in this movement for a pitch with the B flats, B naturals, the high Ds. There's some tricky places, and you negotiated them very well. Um, so, pardon me, so everybody knows I've got a cold here, so I'll be sniffling a lot. Um, let's start at the very beginning again. Your vibrato. What do you think about when you think of vibrato on the English horn as opposed to on the oboe?
I think of like the oboes are like air pulses, but like slightly larger, maybe like slower.
Mm-hmm.
Like so it can be like
Good answer.
more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like the violin in relation to the viola, or the viola in relation to the cello. It's deeper. It should be a deeper vibrato, maybe a little wider. So, yeah, you're doing really well with that. Um, yeah. So this is one of the most difficult things about this, especially this opening phrase, is getting a real good legato. So think about a more legato approach as much as you can. No bumps. Try to get no bumps in the line. And let's start from the beginning. Okay, let me step you. So with that first note, what is your process for starting a note?
It definitely needs to be like well, sort of like a firm start so that it comes out when you first put air through it. So,
Okay.
and then
So that's what you want. What is your like if you're going to teach a young person to start? How do you start a note on the English horn of the oboe? What would you say?
I would say definitely put air behind when you first play
Okay.
so that it plays like
And where's your tongue in that at that point?
I like have my tongue on the reed, I guess, before and then
Good,
just
good, good.
ta.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good answer. Yeah. So you want your tongue on the reed, have your air set, and just just start like that. This is one of those this pieces that's hard to start if you have to have a really good reed that's going to speak really well. But also there's a phrase that one of my colleagues, Robert Walters, likes to use in referring to articulation. He says, "Taste the note." Think of tasting the beginning of the note. Get it. And also here, there have been times in performance for me where I've had a note that didn't speak great, and pretty much every time that happens, it's because I didn't remember to listen, hear the note in my head first. So hear that G sharp in your head before you play it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Nice job. So what's happening? So it's harder as you go down to get the B to the E to the low C sharp, right?
Yeah.
So if you'll notice though, that's kind of in the middle of this crescendo decrescendo. So I think you can do yourself a favor and stay louder longer, especially on the C the half whole C sharp, and don't get softer until you get down to the low C sharp.
Okay.
Start like you did, but just do more, get more broad with it. Excellent. That was great. Yeah. Yeah, keep going. Okay, try that again. So what do you think? What happens when that happens? What do you need to think about? Reminding yourself.
I think about maybe starting off slightly louder so I can put more air behind it.
Mm,
No.
I liked how you started because it is marked piano.
Mm-hmm.
It is softer than the phrase that you played previously. I think you need to think about preparing the large interval, right? The farther apart the notes are, the harder it is to get the lower one to speak sometimes. So think of doing just a tiny crescendo, not even audible, but like in your own mind, from the A to the D. E, da, dum. Yeah, try it again. Yeah,
Yeah.
keep going. Wow, you made that all in one breath. That's good. I would do yourself a favor and breathe after the high B at A,
Mm-hmm.
because that'll give you a chance to reset for that C.
All right.
And stay really, really forte in there. Don't delay. Whenever you see, this day crescendo thing, think louder first. Whenever that's what when I tell my students, when you see a crescendo, think softer first. When you see a day crescendo, think louder first. So okay, let's talk English horn for a minute. So you get to the B flat. How do you finger the B flat? Just like the oboe?
Yes.
Okay. So B flat, if you'll notice, I think if you try this, it might sound even better. Add the third finger in your right hand to the B flat.
All right.
Most English horn players do that.
From the beginning of the phrase.
Yeah, and that this should make the B flat even more ringy and more centered.
Yeah.
That was great. Keep going. I'm sorry I said something. I stopped you. Do it again. That was really good. Great. Yeah. And I would play that eighth note just a little bit longer.
Okay.
Yeah. Just slightly. Okay. Keep
Okay.
going. That was excellent. Your pitch was really good. Great. Yeah, let's talk about that phrase now. So it says piano espressivo. So what does that espressivo mean to you?
Like sort of like singing or like
Yeah. But you gotta do the singing thing within the piano dynamic, right? I think it's a little bit loud. So save yourself a little bit. How are you fingering the high D? Let's talk English horn again now.
um the second finger on the right hand part of the low, like the low D key
So just
beginning
like the
of the
oboe?
C. Yes.
Okay, so this is an oboe fingering. What you just said is an oboe fingering. what this does on oboe is it lowers the high D in pitch, right?
Mm-hmm.
High D on English horn is not a low note. It's not a high note. I mean, it's a low note. It can be low on some horns even. So English horn, we don't put this finger down.
Okay.
Yours is actually pretty well in tune, but try lifting it a little bit. I mean, lift it a little bit. Lift your middle finger on the D, and yeah, there. And you'll find that as you explore the English horn more, for everybody's benefit, there's numerous fingerings for high notes on English horn that make the high register a little bit easier to negotiate sometimes. Yeah, great. So try it again. Super legato and still in piano. Good. Good. Try it again. Yeah. That's okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries. That's tricky. The high B, C sharp B thing. It's kind of, it feels different than on oboe, right? If you're doing that on
Mm-hmm.
oboe, the keys come up higher on English horn, right? So it feels awkward. And also you're changing this on the fly, I know, but you don't have to add this finger. That might make it a little easier on the D.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. Excellent, excellent. So, what dynamic are you starting that phrase from?
Still about piano because it
Good
starts off and
answer.
has it.
Yeah. So yeah, I would start softer and don't crescendo at all in that first bar.
Okay.
That's a bad habit that many people, including me at one point, get into. Like you see crescendo coming and or there's nothing even marked and you just start playing and getting louder. Try to discipline yourself when you don't see a dynamic change to stay the same dynamic. So yeah, save your crescendo. And then what is this point at the B flat, the bar before C? How would you describe that bar? It's an arrival point. I don't make you think too hard there. It's an arrival point, right? So I like to yada da dee da dee da da dee really kind of land more on that B flat and really forte.
Um,
Yeah, even slow down the last 30 seconds of the two bars before C. Da dee da da dee a little bit more.
okay.
Start it from four before C or three before C. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a great place to add the third finger on the B flat too.
Okay.
Yeah, try to get in the habit of doing that. Excellent. From C. Yeah, and you can even do little. We're doing it, but I like to do little to no vibrato there. Just kind of fade out to nothing. That's a long C sharp, G sharp there. So make sure you don't start it too soft. That was really good.
Thank you.
You have a lot of personality to your playing. This is good. You like playing the English horn, don't you? Excellent.
Yeah,
All right, you want to do some of the Pesante?
sure. So I actually have a quick question about
Okay.
this. So in your recording on YouTube, I
Hmm.
think you played it like a bit, like quite a bit faster than the mark tempo, like da 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 da, rather than like
Yeah, it was a little.
56.
Yeah, it was a little faster, wasn't it? Yeah, that's just how I hear it. But
Okay, because
yeah,
I
but
would like.
I mean, do whatever. 66 is fine.
Well, I've actually been playing it slightly faster because I got
Okay,
used to
cool.
listening to it fast.
Sounds good. Okay. The problem with that tempo is, I hope I didn't play it that fast. I don't think I played it that fast, did I? Please tell me I didn't play it that fast.
I don't know. Okay.
I don't think it was that fast because you got it's allegro, but it's pesante, right? So the pesante is telling you that you can't really go that fast. Bumpy,
Okay.
bumpy. And it's got to have a heavy. It's again kind of like the long song idea. It's got to have that heavier feel to it because it's pesante. So don't sound so happy. Try it again. Good, very nice. Yeah, yeah. I feel like just maybe back it off one more click, lower a little bit. Um.
Just a few more minutes left.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. Let's go from this. So you're missing a couple of things here that could make it even more interesting. You see these accents after E?
Mm-hmm.
So just a little more breath accent on those. Were you thinking about those?
Yes.
Okay. Really goose them with your air a little bit more. Go from E. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. And then this grace note coming up, make sure I think I do it on the beat. Okay, on the beat like that.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. From F. Yeah, yeah, keep going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even there on the trill, I like that you're tonguing the trill. That's good. I agree with that. But use more air, I think. Don't be afraid to let it go there. More sound.
Okay.
Okay. And then let's go to G. Make sure you start softly. Okay. Let me get you to think about this. Maybe not so much space after the long notes. Don't let your sound stop. In other words.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Mm.
Excellent. Yeah, there you go. What about talking more English horn fingerings? This 1 and 1 C. You add any fingers to that?
To C? No, I
Yeah.
don't.
No?
No.
Add your third finger.
Third finger C. Okay.
Yeah. Just play a C in the way you do it, and then add that finger and see what you think. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sounds better to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't always do it, but when I can, I try to add that finger. Um, yeah, that was really good. I think that still gonna be. Maybe that tempo.
Okay.
Start it one more time, just a little heavier. Yeah, yeah. This is one of those pieces that it feels like it should go faster, but it probably shouldn't. Yeah. So excellent. Want to start the next one?
Sure.
Have you tried playing this with piano ever?
No.
Okay, so when you do, just be aware this movement is particularly hard to get together with the piano. When you play it with the piano, especially around between J and K, the piano you got to totally tune the piano out and just count. The piano will throw you off. Let's fix that note there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I need to turn the page.
No, no problem. No problem. So go back to where the piano espressivo is,
Mm-hmm.
because when you're doing this, just realize that the piano's going up with every beat. So it's you just have to be super steady.
Yeah. Wait. Oh. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Excellent. Nice. So you negotiated that really well. Before L, I mean, at L where you take the breath, you did a good job of taking it quickly. That's what you have to do. You can take more time there, getting into that D sharp.
Okay.
Do it from like, I don't know, bar before L.
Right before L.
I'm not sure what's happening. You owe me another F sharp or something at the end of the bar. Try it again.
Da, da, da.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, we should
Yeah.
probably wrap up and move on to the next person.
Well, Kevin, you're doing great. I'm
Thank
really
you so
impressed.
much.
That's
Yeah,
excellent.
really great playing, Kevin. That was awesome.
Thanks for playing.
Thank you for helping me.
Awesome. Well, our next performer is Jo Darman from Denton, Texas, and she'll be playing excerpts from Roman Carnival Overture and Rhapsody Espanol.
All right.
Hello.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm a little under the weather, but I'm good. Other than that. So Roman Carnival, huh? All right. Have you performed it before?
I've not. I have performed Rhapsody Espanol, but not Roman Carnival.
Um, okay. So what do you know about this piece and playing this part in particular?
Um,
It's the second oboe part and the English horn part.
mhm. So Roman Carnival Overture is an overture of themes from the opera Benvenuto Cellini,
Hmm.
and this is the love theme of Cellini to his.
Yep. Yep. You've done your homework. Very good. Yeah. So in most orchestras that have more than two players, you don't have to worry about the second oboe part, fortunately. So you can just play that English horn part. Um, I have had to do both. It is not fun. It's it's you'd rather just worry about the solo and not have to worry about the stuff in the beginning. But anyway, all right, go for it. Oh, so where are you from? You're from Texas. Who do you study with?
I'm from the Fort Worth area.
Okay, who's your teacher?
Just finished my master's degree here at North Texas. So
Okay, and who teaches there?
Jim Ryan has taught here
Oh, right,
for
right,
10
right.
years,
Okay,
but he just retired.
I'm
Our new
retired.
teacher
That's
is Dr. Jung Choi.
okay. Excellent. All right, go for it. Okay, excellent. Nice job. Very good. Um, so let's talk about vibrato. What is your approach to vibrato? Like if you were teaching a student.
Um, that's an excellent question.
Thank you.
uh,
It is not
I
something you thought about. It's something you should think about just because you want to, like for years, like when I first started playing the English horn, I had a natural affinity for it. And I would go, when I was playing, I think I played William Tell with the Atlanta Symphony, and my teacher was playing principal, John DeLoe, and he was like, I think you might be an English horn player, and I was offended because I wanted to be a principal oboe player, but then I came to realize that this is actually a better job. No, it's very fun, but so he was like, you still sound like an oboe player playing the English horn. So we have to get away. You kind of have to divorce yourself from the oboe a little bit, and think of the English horn as a completely different instrument. Some of the fingerings are different. It's basically the same fingerings, obviously, but um, in terms of tone, we want a broader, deeper tone, and obviously we want a broader and deeper vibrato. So yeah, just maybe slow it. I don't know if say slow it down a little bit. Try it again. Just think. And obviously, all of our solos, or most of our solos on English horn, are singing. We're singing. We're basically a tenor singing an aria lots of times, and that's what I love about it. And yeah, just think about singing. Try one more time. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, you have a really pretty sound. Did you make the reed?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. What tip is it? Gouge and all that?
This is RDG gouge and Falstaff tip.
Falstaff. Oh. How long do you tie it?
60 and a half.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay. That's long. Did you use a wire? I can't tell.
Yes, I have a wire.
Okay. Okay. And how long is it finished?
Should be 55.
Wow.
I
Okay.
like,
So you
I like
flip a
the
lot.
amount.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just wanted to get an idea of what you're doing. Um, that's fine. I actually took me a long time to come get warm up to that Falstaff tip, but I actually this over COVID kind of trying to make myself use it because I had one and I didn't use it much, so I thought I'm gonna try it, and I made some really good reads on it. I tied it like 59, just a little
Okay.
shorter. You might try that. Um,
Okay, yeah.
wide reads. I mean, wide reads are difficult. I mean, I like them in one sense because I can get a broader, deeper sound because I like to have a big, dark, deep sound. But then they give you challenges when you go to play high. So sometimes, so so you have to build it into the read, and obviously. All right, let's try something. Play that first phrase and use no vibrato.
Okay.
Yeah, as beautiful and legato as you can do it, but no vibrato.
Okay.
I'll bet you can't do it. It's really hard to do. Okay, not bad. Yeah, there's still you notice, right? There's tiny hints of vibrato. Yeah, yeah. This is a good exercise. I think for you especially, I would do this. Your vibrato is nice. It's just it tends to get a little bit fast. So if you can
Okay.
just so doing this, I think um, helps you maybe find the muscles where you do your vibrato and maybe get more control. Vibrato shouldn't be on or off. It should we should have control of how fast the vibrato we have, obviously depending on what we're playing. So another thing musically to think about the what do you think of the note the E da dee dum? What is the functionality of that E?
To suspend is a suspension to the
Appoggiatura, right? Non-chord.
posture.
Yeah. So it's a appoggiatura. So we want to lean on the E, and which I think you're doing, but you're not realizing how loud your D is because D is a loud
Oh.
booming note, right? So we have to you do what you're doing, make the E, bring out the E, but de-emphasize the D more. So,
Okay.
and then the other thing is It's controversial. I used to do what you're doing, but I've started doing less of this, slowing into the high G,
Okay.
like you're doing. Um, I kind of tend to do that more now,
Okay.
because it's an arrival, and you don't want to like, oh, it's I don't know, just kind of let it get to the G more. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and then also the second bar, third bar, pickups to the third bar, your D's. So keep you maybe more sustained on the D's. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a super important excerpt. It's often the first excerpt you play on an audition. So
Mhm.
this is the one where you got to grab their attention right away. Try it again, beginning. Okay, great, very nice. So this first part of the solo, I loved what you did. And the second part, how do you describe the second part of it from the repeated G?
Uh, from where? Sorry.
After the first arrival on the G, you
Yeah,
know, from there.
my air didn't feel like it had as much flow as it did in the
Yeah,
first.
I feel like you could use a little more pressure, blow against yourself a little more, and use. Yeah. The other thing about do your reeds crow C sharp? What do you go for?
Um, no, usually they end up crying a little low, I think.
Just for I mean, this is Zoom, so it's hard to tell, but I mean, if I were there, I would want to clip it just the tiniest bit,
Okay.
just to bring it. I would suggest that maybe later when you know. But I've been playing in the orchestra now like 15, 14 years. I find that most of my reeds crow C sharp.
Okay.
So it's a pretty good rule to if you can get it crowing a C sharp and in your response. So I go for response, then intonation, and then tone. And usually, if you can get response and intonation good, the tone is pretty good. Usually, not always, but so. But you're doing that sounds your setup sounds good. Yeah, I would just it needs to be a little bit more, just slightly more refined
Okay.
is what I would go for. Yeah. Good. Just so the second part of the solo, I think of it as it's a reflective character. It's got kind of a new color. Think of
Mhm.
floating. And when you play this in context, you know the strings are constantly playing 16th notes, so you have to really listen. You know, it can't be. You have to stay within those 16ths. And then at one, when you approach one, the big. This is my one of my read tests right here. Read test number one, getting in the high B. You can take that much time.
Okay.
Michael Tilson
Gotcha.
Thomas took more time than that. I mean, every time we played, it was like so. That's traditional. Just take time. Make the G after the high B kind of of a long note, and sustain your keep your forte up there, and really go for that sforzando on the high B. Yeah, let's try the second half again. Okay. So what happened to you on that last B has happened to me before.
Okay.
What I do to prevent that sometimes, if I feel like my read is a little squirrely, or if I'm like tired, or I feel like that B might not happen the way I want it to, I'll add two and three on the B.
Okay.
It covers it up a little more. It gives you a little feeling of like having a little bit more resistance to it.
Excellent.
That's
Yeah.
a good little trick. Yeah. English horn on oboe, I honestly don't add fingers on any notes on oboe, but on English horn, it's a different animal. So, um,
Awesome.
yeah, really good. Do the approach to one again.
Okay.
hmm So your vibrato actually got too slow on the B that time on the last note.
Too slow? Okay.
It actually got too slow. So good job. Now, yeah, just speed up a little bit. Keep your crescendo going even on the F sharp before one.
Okay.
Ya da dum bum beam. The tendency, a lot of people will play the F sharp softer than the D that you played before it. So you got to keep the crescendo in even on the F sharp. Do it one more time.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, there you go. Logan, how much time do we have?
About 3 or 4 minutes left.
Let's hit the reveal for a second.
Okay.
Go for it. Nice. Very good. What are you doing on the B flat? Are you adding the third finger?
I am now, yes.
Yeah, it just gives it a more of a ring and makes it a little more
hmm
covered. I don't know. And then you want to make sure you have this B in the C flat, B flat and the C flat. The interval is, you know, not too wide, which yours was good. Just be aware that it needs to sound shaded, closer to each other. Um, I like to start this one like coming from nothing, just super soft, and then really big expanse of volume. Try it one more
Okay.
time.
Was that better at the beginning?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, yeah. I would suggest. I mean, I grab a quick breath after that B flat, and after 12, 1, 2, fourth bar.
Okay.
Again, kind of, you did that really well. Try one more time. A little more attitude, a little more cadenza feel to it. just make sure watch your tempo on that last bar. Don't leave that tie note early, because when you get to 13, it's you're back to strict tempo. That was really good. So you've played this before, I can tell. That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any questions, or do you want to try to hit the other one?
Um, yeah, while we're working on, I had never heard the add the ring finger for high B flat before. I didn't know that. Are there any other fun magic fingerings that would make
Yeah.
English horn?
Well, high D is one that I never I said earlier I never used this finger, the oboe fingering for high D.
Okay.
That's kind of how you could tell if someone really kind of knows what they're doing on English horn or not. If they're using this finger, they haven't figured that out yet. So it should be. I think it's because this lowers the pitch too much. Another D I like to use is 2-3 and C sharp.
Okay.
That might be not be one. It's high. You have to lip it down. This we'll talk about it later when we do William Tell. I use this one
Okay.
in Tell at the end. It comes out every time, and it's a brighter kind of a loud fingering for high D.
Gotcha.
In C sharp, this is another good one to know. Just 1 and 3 on the bottom, 4th F on the bottom. No C, no nothing on your pinky.
Gotcha.
There it is.
How was that?
You're right. So 2 and 3 and 4th F on the bottom. That's it. Mhm.
Okay. Interesting.
It's a different. Kind of use these different fingerings as what the music requires, but there are lots of different
Of course.
different options. There's even a D. Sometimes I'll use in a chromatic passage that's just that
Okay.
third finger and well half. It doesn't start the note well though. You can't start the note. Only when you're already going. It works. It works pretty well. That one's really good when you play Rob. If you worked on Rob Roy Overture.
No, I have not.
That's where that one. It's a chromatic passage, so I use that on the D because you're
Yeah.
going to D sharp, and I use
Right.
that C sharp I showed you. It's just a way to negotiate a little easier.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good job.
Yeah, beautiful playing, Joe. That was great. Yeah,
Yeah, very good.
awesome. Our next performer is Christian Tran from New York City, and he'll be playing excerpts from Mother Goose Suite and Pines of Rome.
All right. Hey,
Hello.
Christian. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm also a little under the weather, but I'm getting better.
Good. Good. And you tell me a little bit about yourself.
I just finished my first year at my DMA program in Stony Brook
Oh, okay. With Pedro or?
with James Austin Smith.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. It was okay. Great.
Yeah, he just started teaching there recently.
Excellent. All right. And you've played English horn quite a bit, I guess.
Not too much.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, it's starting to get into it.
Good.
It's fun though. I like it a lot.
Excellent. Well, what are you going to start with?
Can we start with Petit
Mother
Poussé,
Goose?
the
Okay.
second movement?
Go for it.
Should I play the next one?
Yeah, do the next one. Okay. Very nice. Really nice sound. What's your setup? What's your tip and all that?
This is a Mimi. I have no idea what staple this is,
Okay.
but
What do you
and
tie?
then
How long do you tie it?
I tie at 60 and a half, and it finishes at 57.
16 and a half. Wow. I haven't tried tying that one that long. I usually do 59. I've always
59.
been a shorter person anyway, so.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
try it.
yeah, I would try 59. And do you go for a C sharp pro or?
I do. This reads a little high. It's playing sharp, but
Well,
yeah.
it's on. It's got a nice, really beautiful tone. Okay, I'm gonna go out a limb here. Are you using forked F a lot?
Um, no.
You weren't using forked F. Okay, it's a Zoom thing. That's fine. It sounded like one or two of them sounded like forked F. I thought, wow, it sounded good for a forked F, but it sounded like forked F. Anyway,
Right.
you negotiated the high part really well. That's the hardest thing in the whole piece for me. The high D to the high C.
Yeah. Is it?
What do you
I was
figure?
cheating a little bit. I tongued the first high D, but
Oh, shame on you. Yeah, There's a way to do it without having to do that.
yeah, you have
I usually use D and the C key and the ring, just the ring.
just.
The ring.
Oh wow! It's like actually coming out.
Yeah. Yep. The other option would be you can try this. This fingering will feel really sharp and you'll hate it at first. But once you figure out how to lip it down a little bit, it works pretty well too. Depending on your horn, I'd have to play your horn to see if it works. But 2, 3, and C sharp, F L D, 2 and 3, and then 2, 3, C sharp. Okay.
That feels pretty good.
Mess
A
around
little
with it.
sharp,
I mean,
but yeah.
I tend to. That one is a little sharp in this solo for me. I don't usually use it on this horn anyway. But this works really well. The first one.
Yeah.
And I use that on oboe too. I don't have a Philadelphia key on my oboe, so I add the ring all the time for Heidi. So on the C, are you adding any fingers?
I am adding the 3 in my right hand.
Good idea. Yeah. Depending on how your reed feels that day and all that, you might even want to add more. Just you want that C to sound really covered and not whiny at all.
Yeah.
But which yours didn't. I would suggest also vibrate on your pickups. Dee, dee, da, dee, da, dee, dee, da, dum. Even vibrate on those. You did really well. The danger in this solo is to be sharp on that last note. So, yeah, so just aim low on that last note. And then the other important thing is just when you have to sit there and listen to the oboe play his solo, and then you take over without any break, obviously. And kind of whatever dynamic they played, you need to play a little louder. So whatever their pianissimo is, last time Eugene and I played it, it worked really well. It was awesome. And he just played. I just thought, well, okay, I'm gonna play a little bit louder. It's pianissimo espressivo, but you want to sound louder. So try it again. You might play out a little bit more.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, that was really good. A good trick I use for this one, just to practice it with the tuner, um, get your tuner where it'll play the note, play that last note, and have it playing the note, while you're playing the solo, just to make
Right.
sure you're landing right in tune. I'd rather use the tuner to listen to the pitch being played rather than looking at the tuner, but either way. Um, your solo sounds really good. It just sounds a little logy, like it needs to have a little bit more forward motion.
Okay.
Just a little more forward motion. Try it one more time.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, that felt better too.
You like that D fingering?
I like the Steve fingering a lot. It's
Yeah,
solving
good.
some problems.
Yeah, yeah. Do the next one now. So then the danger on the next solo at five, when you get to five, is that C sometime wants to just make sure it doesn't want to sync.
Right.
You've ever had that happen? The C, you try to get softer.
Yeah.
The C, right? That can definitely happen if you're playing a wider shape and tying it really long.
Yeah.
It's also vocal, depending on what vocal. What vocal and horn are you? How you use it?
This is just the normal Lorraine, and it's an étoile vocal.
E12. Okay. Yeah, but well, that's a whole long subject talking about vocal. But
I haven't tried very many vocals, but
once you spend a few months getting into the English horn and getting really familiar with it and play, I suggest to everyone to play slow scales, like quarter note equals 60 in one breath, from the tonic to the highest note on the horn back to the tonic, all in one breath, with the tuner playing the tonic. If you do that every day for like a month, you'll be in such good shape. And then I do the arpeggio in eighth notes at that tempo. And that way you really learn where every note should be. And after doing that, then you can really honestly look at vocals and say what's good.
what's actually helping?
Yeah, I mean, because if you're not familiar with English horn, that will really help. Just really make sure you're super familiar with it. I mean, the H-wall vocal's decent. I mean, I tried one when I was in Paris last, and it was okay. I didn't love it, but that's just it's all dependent on the horn you're using. So
Right.
So let's try this next solo. That was really good. The things that jump out to me, I started noticing your vibrato, and I don't really want to notice it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, especially on your Fs, and when you went to the G in the last bar, your G kind of popped out at me.
Right. A little too much.
Around
and
Zoom,
not.
but yeah, so try to de-emphasize the G a little bit, and think of a little bit slower vibrato.
Okay.
It sounds a little bit too much like oboe. Yeah, nice. Make it even better and vibrate on that E flat too.
3 before 5. Oh.
Yeah,
That one.
that's second to last note. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. So did you do the fast solo?
I did.
Oh, see, I'm gonna show you a trick that's gonna make you so happy.
Okay.
Go for it. Okay, so it didn't come out, right? High D
Right,
flat
yeah.
wasn't clear. Wasn't clear. How are you doing it?
I'm going from left D flat to the oboe fingering for high
Okay.
D flat, and
So
then
go ahead and-
forked F.
Okay, not a good idea. So let me show you. Sorry. No, when I think it was Pat McFarland showed me this trick, I was like, oh my god, this changed my life. So you get to the let me show it. I'll stand up and show you. that D flat we were talking about, 1 and 3, and just 2 and 3 on the top, and forked F on the bottom. Forked F, and then left D flat.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then forked F, left E
Yeah,
flat.
forked F, left
Right?
E flat. Yep. There it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's coming out now. That's great.
It's way easier. Yeah. So just go do it again. You don't want to learn it. You're just relearning it. You're gonna have to relearn it, right?
Yeah.
Just go do it one time slowly. Da-da. Well, you're still going fast. Go slower. Go slow. Excellent. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good, you're
That
doing
feels so
that
much
right.
better.
People miss it. Yeah. Yeah, just practice. I even practice doing that interval really slowly. Just over and over until it feels normal, you know.
Right.
And then the other stuff you're doing well. It's nice and even, and you're actually getting off your half hole and doing the octave key thing, right? Da, 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 da.
I'm trying to.
It's coming across. So
Good.
that's good. Yeah. And what was the other excerpt?
Pines of Rome.
Okay, good. Let's go to that. That was worth it right there for that fingering.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad I went through and played that for you.
All right. Very nice. Okay, good. Have you played this before?
No, I haven't.
So when you play it in context, you don't have room to. I mean, well, okay. So what's it about? This movement,
Well, it's a march.
right?
Um,
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah.
it's this thing, this juxtaposition of this march, these soldiers marching in the room, and but then you've got this kind of snake charmer aspect, this kind of irreverent snake charmer thing going on in the English horn. But you have to keep it. You have to be super steady. What I'm hearing is your fives are way too fast.
Yeah.
Take your
Okay.
time. You can
Okay.
play them, obviously. Just you don't have to play them that fast. Yeah, play around with it a little bit more, and it should sound a little more relaxed. Yeah. And what was the other thing? No, that's it. Okay, try it one more time. Okay. So it's just got this relentless beat going. Bump, bump. You know, keep that in your mind when you're doing it, because in an audition you can't be unsteady with the rhythm at all.
Yeah.
Super steady. You tend to run on the fives a little bit, and then you actually did pretty well. Most people play the C at 19 too short. You played it pretty well. You could play it even longer. So the first phrase ends with an eighth note C. The second phrase ends in 19 with a quarter note. Just make sure you bring out that difference.
Right. In some recordings, I heard this 5 played as a 2 and a 3. Would you recommend doing that, or should it try and be an equal 5?
That's not what's written. Yeah, you hear people do that. In the expressive, when you're being expressive in the moment, sometimes it comes out sounding like that. I mean, I don't think it should. I think it should be equal 5 equal notes. But
Right.
sometimes, you're being expressive and it comes out like that. But um, technically, it should be 5 equal notes.
Okay.
Go one more time. Good. Good. So what's happening is you're letting up your intensity on the C. Da 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 dee da dum da dum. Keep your
Oh,
energy going on the C. Don't let it
yeah.
die.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, my cord is a little stuck.
Good. Okay, great, good. You did it again though on that second tied C.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, keep your sound up on that C.
I caught myself, but it's too late.
Try that second phrase. There you go. Yeah, you might even think about doing the second one less.
More of an echo.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I do that sometimes. Um, yeah, I would really
This
suggest doing this with a metronome
Yeah.
because you tend to slow down at the end when it's you know. But just keep it super steady. It sounds really good. Busy. I like your piano, but I think your mezzo forte after the piano bar could be a lot louder.
Like a real forte.
And don't let that G go early and keep it pretty big. Mezzo
Okay.
forte. Yeah,
just
do
about 2 minutes left.
okay. Let's do it from 19. There's a little trap here that you almost fell into. Almost. It was all you were pretty good, but watch the rhythm. Sometimes that last beat sounds like a triplet. Ya-dee-da-dee-ya-da-da-dum. Just don't let those 16ths get tripletized at all.
Right. Okay.
That was good. I think your mezzo forte could be even more.
Even more? Okay.
Yep.
Where should I start?
Start from the B natural in bar 19 or at 19. There you go. and then bar. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 from 20 before 20. You're kind of playing a little slower or something. Do that bar.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
The triplet was just getting too stretched out. Is that what was
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah. No, it sounds really good. It's a harder solo than people think. Yeah, but I just work to get that those the notey parts in the beginning more smooth and more maybe a little more stretched out.
Right.
It shouldn't sound rushed. I do like the fact that you're not skipping over the second note after the C, the B, in the very beginning. But you did that really well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Any questions?
Um, I don't think so. Oh, just a quick read question.
Hmm?
When your reads crow the C sharp, that's I don't know if you use like aquarium tubing or anything.
Without
That's
the
before anything, right?
yeah. Good
Okay.
question.
Just
Yeah, when I first got my
clarify.
job, I was tying the tubing onto the. Actually, I actually would tie the tubing onto the tube. And I got together with Robert Sheena from Boston Symphony one time. We were just geeking out and playing each other's setups. And he's like, "How do you know what your reed crow is?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "You got tubes on there. Every crow's gonna be a different pitch." I was like, "Oh, good point." So I stopped doing that. Yeah. So yeah, definitely without the tubing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I would try tying that shorter. Just
Yeah,
15.
yeah. I'll give that
It's a
a
good
try.
tip. Yeah. All right, man. Nice job.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Great job,
much.
Christian.
Yeah,
Beautiful playing.
yeah.
Our final performer is LeBaron Wallace from Iowa City, Iowa. He will be playing excerpts from Three Cornered Hat and William Tell Overture.
Aaron. Hey there. How's it going?
Good, how are you? Besides being sick. But,
Long time no see.
yeah.
LeBaron and I go way back.
So far.
So you're gonna start with Faya?
Yeah, I can start with that.
All right. How are the reads going? What's your setup these days?
Using Pisoni brass and Chudnow brass staples, and I'm
Mhm.
using a Gilbert -1 shape.
Okay. And what are you tying it at?
Uh,
Length.
58.5, 59.
Good. Excellent. Do you have a Luray? You do, right? Yes.
I have a Howarth.
It's a Howard?
Yeah.
What? Okay. Interesting. How long have you had that?
Since 2019? Yeah.
You didn't have that when we met, right?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Did I know that? I don't think I remember that. I didn't play it.
It's okay.
Anyway. Well, good. I don't hear you. When you speak, I don't hear you very well.
Oh, hold on. Is this better?
That is way better.
Okay. I'm
All
also
right,
just
go for it.
mumbling, so maybe that's why.
All right. Wow, very good. Nice job.
Thank you.
Lots of attitude. Very good. So what do you? How do you think of this solo? Have you played it before in context?
Nope.
It's kind of a trip to play it. We did it one year and on children's concerts, and we played like 20 children's concerts. So I got to play it 20 times, which is actually really great because I got to learn, try all these different things, and it was fun. Um, and it becomes way less scary when you've played it 20 times.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the first note. So when you come in, is that the beginning of the solo?
for me it is. I know the beginning.
For you, it's the beginning of the solo, but I mean music.
Oh, at the beginning it starts with a horn call, and
Yeah.
then a little bit with the strings, and then the strings have a big like cut
Yeah,
off
yeah, yeah.
before, and then it's the
Good,
English.
good. Yeah. So you know what's going on. So you're kind of continuing the what from the horn. So that's why we have to come in super loud. You want to come in and match the horn sound.
Right.
So big, 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 loud, low D, and then don't even worry about counting. Just play it as loud as you can, and then wait till you get down as soft as you can play, and then move.
Okay.
It's really a cadenza. So yeah, it's pretty free. So and also the beginning of the note, try to have not a really hard attack. Attack's a bad word. Start the note less with less front to the note.
Okay.
Just wah. Okay. All right. Okay, good. So I'm gonna have to. Well, I'll talk about this first. Your last triplet is too fast.
Too fast. Okay.
Yeah, in an audition, you get nailed for that because it's not. It doesn't sound like a triplet. You're playing ya da 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 da, which sounds more like sixteenths, right?
Right.
So do the accent. So you want da 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 da. Let's do the last two beats. Ya, da, 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 da.
Right.
Just make it basic triplets right now. Ya, da, 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 da. Okay, yeah, okay. Play that as written now. Yeah, I don't hear the accent. It's hard to do. Go for it. If you squeak on it, it's fine.
Okay.
Ya, da, 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 da. There you go. There you go. I wouldn't stray too far from that kind of rhythm at an audition. You get a concert, you want to change it more than that, whatever. But in an audition, you're gonna get you want to show that you know that rhythm is that. Okay, so LeBaron, you're leaving something out, buddy. Bar 176. What's missing?
Hold on.
The way you're playing it. Do you have numbers? Bar 177. Sorry, 177.
I do not have numbers. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's the third bar, the
Um.
downbeat. Something's
Oh,
missing.
I'm missing the accent.
Yes. Yes. You owe me an
Put
accent.
put the accent somewhere else. You know.
And I think after in the first bar at the triplet, you could do it a little bit slower. Um, now that my reed's dried out, forgive me. I didn't even do enough accent. Do more, even more than that.
Okay.
Try it more time. Slow that triplet down at the end of the bar there.
Like that.
Yeah, yeah. For it to sound accented, you have to come down dynamically after it, which is convenient because you have a crescendo coming up, right?
Right.
So, so I would say hit that accent low D and then get softer, so it sounds accented, and you've got this. You can build for this next crescendo coming. One more time. Da, 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 da. Yeah, that was good. That was better. That was good. Um, I feel like After when you start the 16ths, they start a little quick. So does that make sense? It's got to sound uh, what's the word? Like it makes sense. You know that not that yours doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
Right. It can't
It's got
just
to
be
sound.
out of nowhere. It's
Yeah.
gotta, I'm like, okay.
Try go from the beginning. It's short. If I was sitting in the audience and I paid my $50 to hear you play this, what would I be wanting to hear more of?
More.
I just came to hear you just you play this solo. That's all I came for.
You want more take crescendo at the beginning? More.
Maybe. No, man. I want to hear some more fire, some more vibrato,
Oh,
excitement.
okay.
Yeah, I think you vibrate more. Yeah, that's getting better. Yeah, da, 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 da. That's still bugging me a little bit. That was better. I think you still need to work on it. Mark, you should mark a piano after that accented low D.
Okay.
Yeah. And just kind of follow the shape of the notes. As they go up, get louder. As they come down, get softer. So there's shape, a little more shape. Um, yeah, and you just take more time. You can play those notes in the you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Those. Just take your time. And so, just so everybody knows, there are two different versions of this piece. Have you seen the other one?
I have both of them, yeah.
Yeah, the one where it skips the G to the B flat. And at auditions, you just have to really either ask if they don't let you know, or I would find out, which version, so you practice the right one, because
Yeah.
it's not that big of a difference, but it's enough to trip you up if you're not looking at it. If you use their parts and you realize it's different. do the whole thing one more time. Even more vibrato. Go crazy.
Okay.
That was that was pretty crazy, but you didn't get soft enough. I love the vibrato. I'd take even more.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Much better. Yeah, record yourself
Yeah.
and and listen for what I was telling you about getting down softer, because you're still not getting down soft enough after that accent, and get more accent. But everything else sounds way better. It makes more sense now. And yeah, don't be afraid of. I mean, English horn's expressive instrument. Use that pretty vibrato. It's good. What's your other piece? Oh, William Tell. Let's do that. I'm glad you picked this. This one's got a couple of traps. Have you performed William Tell before?
Nope.
You will. Nice job. Very good. So, how did that feel?
It's a long blow
It's
from the
hard,
beginning.
right? Yeah, it's a long blow. And fortunately, then one thing that helps me when I play this in an audition or when I even have to perform it, I remind myself it's not a solo.
Right.
To do it, and also remind yourself that the flute has a lot more notes to play than you do. So,
Yeah.
and that should affect, I mean, in an audition anyway, the tempo you pick. So don't go in an audition and play this too fast because the flute players on the committee will say this person doesn't realize what the flute has going on.
Right.
You really have to pay attention to be considerate of the flute player. I think your tempos just could be a hair slower. Think calm, peaceful, um, not intense. You don't have to try to sell it. It's a simple, pastoral, one of our pastoral solos. So what are you thinking when you're playing rhythmically? Are you subdividing at all?
A little bit, yeah. I know after a while it starts to like get fuzzy, especially
Yeah.
around like the triplet 16ths and then the 16th tied to the quarter
Yeah, yeah,
note right
yeah.
there.
Okay, so you should be subdividing triplets for sure, and even practice to it sometimes. And so, did you notice how I did the grace notes?
They
Yeah,
do
yeah, 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 da, dee.
like in
They're
time,
two
but
different ways. I mean, you can do them fast or slow. That's another thing you want to talk to the flute player about before you perform it. But in an audition, I most of the time when I was auditioning, I played them fast. But I've gotten to where I've realized that most flute players like to play them slower. So I've gotten to where I play them like that, kind of slow. Um, so start the opening one more time, and use that vibrato. You want making me want to hear more vibrato. You don't realize you're shorting a beat on the trill bar.
hmm
Just go around the trill. Yeah, do it one more time now and slow the grace notes down just a little bit. Yeah. So the beginning of the trill, I liked what you did better the time before that.
Okay.
You went. Yeah. So start the play the beginning of the trill a little slower and then speed it up like you were doing. One more time. Okay. Yeah. Not so long on the eighth note, but that's good. Next phrase. Excellent. How are you getting the D out like that? That was good. What'd you figure? How'd you
Using
figure?
the half full 2-3 and then a C key.
And it comes out just great. Okay, you don't have an open ring on the.
I do not.
Okay, gotcha. No, it worked great. So when you have if you have a horn that has an open ring, just push. That's what I do for the high D,
hmm
like we talked about earlier. That was great. So that's one of the traps. That's one of the places where people. If you're nervous at all, that D might be compromised. All right, keep going. took that much. That was good, really good. I like your scheme. I think how you I like how you're doing. Here's a trap. I'll just mention this. You're not actually doing this. You're doing it well. But a lot of people play. So you're emphasizing the 16th and not the 8th, which is good. So just a note for everybody else. And then I like what you're doing. You're getting softer, right? Before the C sharps and after F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars.
Mm-hmm.
You are. Do more of that. Grab a breath there before the long F sharp.
Oh,
That way you don't have to hurry through that transition bar. Right?
yeah.
Did you see what I did dynamically? Did that make
Mm-hmm.
sense? I don't know if it comes across on Zoom, but yeah, try for an F now. Good. Good, but you're hurrying through that, and you're making it sound like you want to get it over with, and I know you don't.
Never. Okay.
Um, see, go even more dynamically. Go to that A sharp. That's the interesting note, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really crescendo to that A, and then decrescendo, and make the beginning of that long F sharp soft, right? You take all kinds of time there. Yeah. How about from the C? Dee da da dee da dee da da. One bar before the A sharp bar. How about? Yep. You shorted me a beat.
I
Try it
shorted
again.
the beat. I'm sorry.
Subdivide. Okay, good. You can make that last note short because the trumpets come in and play bum, so it's short.
Yep.
So the high D. This is going to help everybody. How are you fingering? How are you getting to the high D?
I was just doing the half full 2-3 and the C, but I know earlier you said to add the 3 and 4.
Okay, I'm about to change your life. You ready?
Please do.
Half full 2 3, 2 3 C sharp. It'll come out every time. Use more air. Don't be afraid of it. It'll come out. Yeah. Does it feel low?
Hmm?
I don't know how Earth Instruments. So does it sound low to you? Does it feel low that fingering?
It sounds like a tiny bit low. My D normally sits a little bit.
That's odd because on Lorraise it makes the pitch higher. You actually have to be aware of it not being too high. Don't want to let it be too high, but you see if you can get a real good loud forte octave with that fingering. Aim up. Aim other direction. Aim up. Aim up on the high D with your embouchure. Closer. Yeah. I don't mean bite, but I mean you know what I mean. Like voice it differently so that it's pointing up. So do you like that? It comes out better, right?
Yeah, just gotta practice getting it up
Yeah.
there.
So energize that D, the half full D, with lots of air, and scoop with your air up to the high D. That's all. Try that. Yeah, and you can slow down a little bit on the last beat.
On the last one.
Usually the conductor will indicate slow down there a little bit. And hold on to that. Don't be afraid of the high D now. You can play it longer. That's the climax of the whole thing. Try this. Try this and just the middle finger in the C sharp key. See if that raises it. That raised it at all?
Yeah, by a lot.
That might work better on your horn.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a good trick to get the high D out, especially for those of you who play Lorraise. And I think Laubens it works well on too. So, how much
Just
time do we
another, just about a minute or so.
have? Okay. You're sounding good. You just graduated, right?
Mhm.
Excellent. So what else have you got going on? Are you what's the plan now?
Not much. Just gigging around a little bit,
Mhm.
work, and just making reads and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Good. Excellent. Take some auditions. There are a couple of English horn auditions coming up. Fort Worth and Kansas City,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually Utah. Or I mean not Utah. Oregon. Portland, Oregon will be open. Um, while we have one more minute, start the very beginning of it one more time with the idea of just catching our interest right away. I want my ear to be drawn to want to hear you, and then we're gonna do that by what? Your tone and by your vibrato.
Yeah.
Dolce, it says, right? Yeah. Pay attention to the last note. Other than that, it was great. Vibrate on that and the A. On the A. And before you play, I noticed that you don't look like you take in much air. Do you feel like you take a good breath?
I feel like I do, but I could probably show it better
You
because it looks like I
are, yeah.
don't at all. like
I mean, you should take in a good bit of air. Try it one more time. Excellent. There you go. That was better. Maybe a hair longer on the A. Do the next verse. Did you lift your half whole finger
yeah. Sometimes I lift it on instinct because I do that on my
on
oboe.
your oboe? Yeah, I don't think it works on English horn, right?
Nope, not even close.
Try it again. Oh, it was good. You kind of go to the G sharp a little bit too. Like play it with like you want it to sound so controlled and like you're not worried about it at all, even though it's like the most scary part of the solo, right? I think if you slow down your grace notes, it'll help you land on that D better.
Yeah.
Start from the A. That was better. Let's do it again. This is one of the places where you want to work on this solo. Like this has to sound super refined and in control. This is why I use this for a read test too. Find difficult moments like this that are, and make sure your read will do it. Try that one again. Okay, get to where you can play it and vibrate on the D.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good. It's good. It's coming along. It's way better. Yeah, it's kind of how you approach the D with the grace notes. That'll help it feel relaxed. Have a relaxed feel to it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'd say practice with a metronome. And just make sure it's super steady. And yeah, you sounded really good, man. Good job. Good to hear you
And
play
beautiful
again.
playing.
Yeah,
That
nice
was
job.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we'd like to open the floor to everyone attending. Does anyone have any questions for us? Looks like we have one. What is your instrument slash reed setup? What's your opinion about putting wire on the reed?
All right. I play a Larray English horn, and I have two, and I have one is a Royale from like it's probably like 7 years old. Kimberly Lorch, hey Kim. Um, and my other one is a C series, which is super. It's like old, made in the early '70s, and it's like the best Larray English horn I've ever played. It's so good. But it's actually in the shop getting a third octave key added to it right now, so I'm very excited about that.
Nice.
Vocals, I was using a Cymer today, a gold Cymer. Most of the time on my other English horn, which is kind of my main horn now, I use a Glover vocal, which many of you probably haven't heard of. Glover vocals were made by Paul Laubin's person that made the vocals for Laubin. So I don't know the guy's name, but I don't think they're made anymore, unfortunately. But this vocal came with this horn, and it was really good. Setup, reed shape. I've been using the DS Cymer shape a lot. Last couple years. Long time I used the Genet, no, I mean the Jacobasi tip. I won the job on a -1, Gilbert -1. It kind of got gradually wider over the
Yeah.
years. Staples, I use the Chudnow staples with the thing on the bottom. I like how they stay attached to the vocal and there's no leaking. The leaking thing is a big deal, so use tubing or use these kind of tubes because it really helps a lot. Especially with the Cymer vocals. I find some tubes don't fit the Cymer vocals really well. So it's really important the connection between the staple and the vocal.
Yeah.
Does
What
that
about
answer?
wire?
Oh, wire. I use it most of the time. there's some reeds I make that I don't feel like I need it, but mostly I end up using it. Yeah, put
Nice.
it like
Okay.
3 to 4 millimeters above the string, generally.
Okay. Nice. Another question. Can you describe the E flat fingering again?
E flat. E flat? I didn't use an E flat. The D high D you mean, or I'm not sure. The D flat probably. She's talking about. They're talking
Yeah,
about.
maybe that's what it was.
Well, there's several. I'll just show you that the one I use mostly is the standard, high D flat fingering. Um, there for a long time, I was using this in the Ravel Piano Concerto 1 and 3, because you go from A sharp and you just leave these fingers down for C sharp. It's a nice bright note, bright fingering. It's kind of a brighter fingering, but I've gone back to using the regular fingering for that solo just because I think it sounds better. But that fingering is awesome for the Mother Goose. That's the only way to play Mother Goose cleanly for me, anyway. Um, was that? I want to make sure I answered the question. Was that the right?
Yes, it was about the D flat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Another question. What is your favorite solo or piece to play?
Um, the Ravel Piano Concerto is one of my favorites. Definitely.
Yeah, me too.
I got lucky enough to play the Tristan solo with Cleveland Orchestra 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and that was really fun. I never thought I'd ever get to play that, but
Yeah.
that was a blast. But yeah, because it's so free and you're up in the behind the organ and the back of the hall up high. It's kind of cool. Nobody knows where it's coming from. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That was
that's
really,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Swan Tunella, of course. It's great.
Yeah.
There's so many great ones.
Yeah. All of them. Yeah. Another question was someone else has a beautiful played out C series oboe. Do you have recommendations on who could do a good job of the rebuild?
Brian Seaton,
Brian Seaton. Okay.
the Oboe House. He's in North Carolina. He was my repairman for a long time in Atlanta. When I was there, he was in Atlanta. I was going to him it seemed like before every audition I took, my English horn would crack. So he would, because I was practicing all this third octave stuff, and I don't know, the horns just couldn't take it, I guess, because literally every one of them cracked. So
Wow.
yeah. Brian does excellent work. Mark Chudnow does real excellent work. Those are the two people I use most of the time.
Nice. You said it was Oboe House?
Yeah, oboehouse.com.
Okay.
Brian
Okay.
Seaton.
Awesome. Another question. What portion of time do you spend working on reads versus practicing? And does that amount of time shift if you're doing audition prep versus normal life?
It does shift. Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time making reads. I actually sell reads through Oboe House. What is it? Double or Nothing Reads in Cincinnati. So I'm making more reads just because of COVID. Gave me something to do, right? Because we weren't playing.
Mm.
So I've been making more reads than usual. But I like to make reads, so I do it a lot. And you can ask my students. I always have lots and lots of reads around. But
Great.
according to I try to not practice. I try to not make more reads more than I practice. It is a challenge sometimes. But
Yeah.
I'm getting ready for season after next. I'm doing a concerto with the orchestra, so I'll probably err on the side of more practicing than reads for a while anyway.
Yeah.
But it just kind of depends on what's coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome. Any other questions from anyone? Feel free to unmute yourself if that's easier. Oh, are we allowed to know which concerto you're doing?
It's a piece that's not written yet.
Oh, wow.
Esapeka commission. Well, I probably shouldn't say anything. Her name's Uti Tarkainen is her name.
Okay.
So, and I think it's going to be. I don't think it's next season. They asked me about it this year, so I think it's going to be season after next. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Awesome.
Yeah.
I had a question. What other read tests do you do?
Most of my tests are repertoire driven, so whatever whatever I'm playing that week is largely what I'm testing my reeds doing. But like I said, I use the going up to the high D's in
Yeah.
the William Tell or the the solo in Heldenleben. Dee da da dee da da dee da 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 yum ba da dum. Going up to the high D. That's a good one. I often use the nocturnes, the fet,
Mm,
that one for to see if my reed will articulate well. Um, Roman Carnival approaching the high B is a really good one.
nice.
Um, and also just to see if your reed will do the downward slurs well. William Tell is great for that. A
Yeah.
good one also is the high part of New World Symphony, just to see if the
Okay. Yeah.
A flat, B flat, C line up really well.
Yeah. Nice. That's great. Awesome. Well, if there aren't any more questions, we can start to wrap up. Thank you again to everyone who attended and performed today, and a special thank you to Russ for teaching all of us. I know I learned a lot. It means so much to have you support our efforts to provide education opportunities to the online oboe community. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We'll be uploading a replay of this masterclass on our YouTube channel in the next few days, and the replay will be available to watch for the next month or so. We are also sending out a survey for those of you who are here watching, so we would greatly appreciate if you can take a few minutes to fill that out. Our next masterclass is with Titus Underwood, Principal Oboist of the Nashville Symphony. Audition tapes are due by July 10th, and the masterclass is on July 24th at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And you can find more information at reedesign.io/SMS. Until then, enjoy your summer and practice well. Have a great day, y'all.